Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. In 1989, the United Nations announced that we only had until the year 2000 to save the world from global warming. I remember well when the year 2000 arrived because experts said that not only would global warming destroy the planet that year, but the Y2K bug would as well. The Independent newspaper said on December 19, 1999 that we were going to have a nuclear war because of a software bug. The world didn't end, but a few weeks later, the same newspaper announced that snowfalls are now just a thing of the past. It's amazing that we survived all of these threats. But then the United States faced another major threat in the year 2000. That was back in the days when only living human beings were allowed to vote in elections. And except for a few hanging chads in Florida, Al Gore almost became the president of the United States. We survived that threat, but 6 years later, Al Gore announced that we only had 10 years to save the world from global warming. And for that brilliant prediction and his science fiction movie, Al Gore was awarded the Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize was awarded to Al Gore on this date in 2007. At the ceremony, he solemnly predicted that all Arctic ice would be gone in 7 years.
Another new study to be presented by U.S. Navy researchers later this week warns it could happen in as little as 7 years. 7 years from now. In the last few months, it has been harder and harder to misinterpret the signs that our world is spinning out of kilter.
I wouldn't disagree with him that our world is spinning out of kilter, but it has nothing to do with climate. It's caused by politicians like himself. He didn't do too well with his climate prophecy, as there's more sea ice now than there was when he made that prediction in 2007. The world's other leading climate fraudster, Michael Mann, also announced that he won the Nobel Prize that year. But the Nobel Prize committee said that that simply isn't true.
I'm trying to look for some information about previous winners of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Which one?
I was wondering, has Dr. Michael Mann ever won the Nobel Peace Prize?
No, he has never won the Nobel Prize.
He's never won it?
No.
Oh.
He didn't win the Nobel Prize, but like Al Gore, he has become extremely wealthy from pushing climate fraud. According to experts, global warming destroyed the planet more than 20 years ago. But the good news is that 78% of Democrats in a recent poll said that climate change was an existential threat that must be addressed now with major legislation. Democrats and the press know that the United States government can control the climate through legislation. And Yahoo News says that 6 in 10 Republicans falsely disagree with that belief. Our journalists are not only experts in science, but they also know the truth and they can see the future. The United States only produces about 15% of the world's CO2 emissions, and that share has been steadily declining. Meanwhile, Asian countries are massively increasing the amount of fossil fuels which they're using. This is because their governments actually want their countries to succeed. If the United States dropped off the map completely, it would have very little impact on the growth of CO2 in the atmosphere, which is being driven by Asian countries. Based on their behavior, it appears that making the United States disappear off the map is the goal of Democratic politicians. So let's review the disasters which we survived over the last 30 years. According to experts, global warming destroyed the planet in the year 2000, as did the Y2K bug. The year 2000 also marked the end of snow. Hanging chads in Florida saved us that year from Al Gore and the White House. We caught a lucky break, and Al Gore announced in 2006 that we had 10 more years to save the world from global warming. And on this date in 2007, he announced that the Arctic would be ice-free by the year 2014. But thanks to the efforts of fake Nobel Prize winners like climate fraudster Michael Mann, we're all still here. Toto keeps trying to train Democrats about this clown show, but Twitter shut down his account earlier this week. They didn't like him barking out the truth so much. You can visit Toto, Kyrie, and Caesar on the web at RealClimateScience.com.